All right, from memory, the best you can, without looking back at the notes we just took. This was the easier one. It was just one, and it was one term. I'll start you off. There was a 2.
Wow. There was a 2. You couldn't have given us the hard ones. Wait.
Good.
Megan, don't give it. Wait, was it sine? I don't remember.
All right, I heard a few of you say it. What is it? Okay. All right. Now, this next one is the harder one because there's a total of 3. Okay, the original one, what comes first, sine squared or cosine squared? Okay, so you guys said earlier because it's bossy and snobby, so cosine squared theta plus or minus?
Minus.
Minus, because plus would be the Pythagorean identity. All right. And then this was the trick I showed you guys earlier. If I change cosine squared to 1, this becomes sine squared or 2 sine squared?
I actually remembered that one, Miss Torres.
Good. And if I change this one to a 1, cosine squared becomes?
2 cosine squared. Wow, this is going better than I thought it was.
See?
That's the only one I remember. I think it's because Pythagorean identity, so like clicks.
Yeah. All right. And then tan 2 theta. If it helps, think of, okay, tan A plus tan B, 1 minus tan A tan B, and see if it can click in your head what it would come out to be.
Was there multiple? Oh, no, there's just one.
Oh, I think I got this tonight. I'm not sure.
Okay.
This is where I shake.
Give it to me.
Ooh, no. Don't put that pressure on me. No, I'm sinking into the desk.
Okay, well, if I had tan A plus tan B, that would be tan theta plus tan theta, which is 2 tan theta. The 1 stays 1.
And then 1 minus tan squared.
Perfect.
Okay, I
10
actually
squared
did that right.
theta. Okay,
Wow, that went better than I thought it would.
good. Okay, number 1, find sine 2 theta, cosine 2 theta, tan 2 theta. Well, you need more information, of course. Okay, given sine of theta equals -3/5, and theta is in Q3.
Teachers, please excuse the interruption. Can you please release all JV and freshman basketball players to the bus at this time? All JV and freshman basketball. Thank you.
Well, that's nice. Okay. Draw our picture. It actually flat out tells us. We don't have to figure it out. It's in quadrant 3.
That's my favorite type of one.
Here's theta. They gave us this information, which means -3 goes on the opposite side or adjacent side,
Opposite.
and 5 is the hypotenuse. You should know this triangle, 3, 4, 5, and this is 4, -4. If you forgot and you put a +4, would you end up with the wrong answer?
Yeah.
Yes, yes you would.
That was it.
It would. Okay, part A. I'm going to call part A sine of 2 theta. Now what's nice about sine 2 theta, there's only one formula. You don't have to figure out which one to use. It's always going to be 2 sine theta cosine theta all day long, every day. Yep. And now, when I have kids on the test, always plug in and give me theta in their final answer. Once you evaluate sine of theta, should you still have theta in your answer? No, it's gone. So we go to our picture, and there's only one picture here, and that's okay, that's all we need. What is sine of this picture? I'm going to write down the 2. What is sine of this picture? And then another blank, and then we do times cosine of the same picture. What's cosine of this picture? -4/5, and I'm going to put the 2/1. What's 2 times -3 times -4? Positive or negative? Over 1 times 5 is Reduce if you can, and since we cannot, final answer.
That's one of our final answers.
One of the final answers, you are correct. Okay, B. I'm going to call B cosine of 2 theta. Okay, now what cosine 2 theta, you have choices. You can pick the first one, or you can pick the second one, or you can pick the third one. I'm going to tell you, actually, which one do you guys want to use?
Which one, in your opinion, is the
They're all pretty much the same. My morning class picked the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have you guys do that now. I am going to pick a different one just to see if we end up in the same place. But right now, I'm going to write it and I'm going to erase it. If you're doing the first one, you're doing cosine squared theta minus sine squared theta blank squared minus blank squared. Okay, go ahead and do it. I'm going to do mine differently when I do it with you guys. I just want to at least set you up if you're doing it this way. If you are doing a different way, that is fine as well. Did you not have it down, Justin?
No, it's okay. Like, I know what I'm doing, but I'm confused because, are we taking, like, so for cosine theta, are we taking that and then squaring it?
Yes.
Okay.
So cosine of theta would be negative 4/5, and then you'd
Yeah.
square it to 16 over 25.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And again, I'm using a different one because I just want to check with you guys at the end. Right, I ended up with 7 over 25. Same answer? Or you use the third one?
Yeah, the 2.
Awesome. Can I put your work up? Do you mind? Okay, so I'm glad someone tried. Okay, anybody use the first one? Same answer?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, and then I did the second one, same answer, and I'm going to show you the third one. Okay, so she did the 2 cosine squared. Cosine is negative 4/5. She squared it, 16 over 25, 32 over 25, and then she got a common denominator and still got the 7 over 25. Thank you. Anyone have the first one they're willing to put up? Mm-hmm. So we can see right there that the multiple formulas do indeed work. Okay, so you can see here she has the cosine squared, the sine squared, 16 over 25, 9 over 25, and this is a minus right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, do you mind if I put it a minus?
No, you're fine.
Okay, so minus, and when I did it with my class earlier, I did ask, will these two negatives cancel out? No, because you square first, right? And you get 9 over 25, so 16 minus 9 is 7. Do you guys see how she got that? Anyone else get the same thing? Thank you. All right, questions on part B. Okay, and part C, I'm going to call part C the tan of 2 theta. All right, so that equals what? 2 tan theta over 1 minus what? Tan squared theta. So this gives me 2 blank over 1 minus blank squared. All right, so find tan of theta using your picture and then plug it into the 2 blanks. All right, what is tangent of theta according to this paper, this picture? Opposite over adjacent is what? Excuse me, was that 3/4?
Yes, I did.
That's okay. And now we do 2 over 1 times 3 over 4. Do you guys want to cross reduce the 2 and the 4 now or reduce it later? Now? So when I reduce, 2 becomes 1 and 4 becomes what? 2. So I have 3 over what? 2. 3 over 2. Do you guys see how I got that? If you didn't do it, then you can do 2 times 3 is 6 over 4, and then divide top and bottom by 2. 3/2. 1 minus 16, no, sorry, 9 over what? Okay, now, your choice. Common denominator, combine, and then multiply by the reciprocal, or do what we've been doing where we clear everything by multiplying by the common denominator. Clear the complex fraction or work with it individually. Clear, we're okay with clearing? Okay, when we clear, what do we multiply everything by? Common denominator, good job, which is what? Everything, top and bottom, by the 16. Why 16? Because 2 goes into 16, 16 goes into 16, and 1 goes into 16. All right, here you cross reduce. 2 becomes 1, and 16 becomes 8, and 3 times 8 is 24. And then 16 times 1 is just 16. Take away, this is nice because this reduces completely to just what? 9. And so we have 24 over, and can I reduce that? No. Almost done. Questions? All right, so do you agree this is very similar to what we've been doing, just a different set of formulas? Drawing our picture, only one this case because it's a double angle, not angle addition, and then rewriting our formulas and working it out. And again, in your final answer, once you evaluate right here, look, there's no more theta. I often have kids still putting theta in here. The theta's gone. Do you see that? Or the alpha or the beta. Right. Okay. Number 2. Cosine of u equals negative 2/7. Yeah. Thank you. Cosine of u is negative 2/7. You don't like u? Why? It doesn't. It doesn't. You can change your own? Yeah. Okay. Why does it bother you? Just wondering.
It just looks weird. It just doesn't look like a variable. It looks like a part of the word. Yeah.
Oh, kosu.
Yeah.
Kosu.
Like on tests, I'll always like change whatever letter they give me to theta or x.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So is that, you gonna treat that variable like that?
No, I can. It's just like when I'm shorthanding it, it looks like a B.
All right. Okay. Find sine of 2u. Now, on the homework tonight, they'll ask you for sine 2u, cosine 2u, and tangent 2u, but because of time, we're only going to find the sine part of it. Are you guys okay with that? No, knowing you still know how to find the cosine and the tangent part, yes? Okay. Draw your picture, just like we did in the last one. Now, the last one, it flat out told us theta was in Q3. This one doesn't flat out tell me, but it does give me the restriction right here. What does this restriction mean? It has to, it's restricted to the first and second quadrant. Do you guys agree? It can't go beyond that because u is bigger than 0 but less than 180. Good job. And I'm going to put an equal bar there because there could be an equal on the 180, sorry. Now cosine's negative, so it has to be which quadrant? Second one. Does everybody see how we got that? Yes? Cosine's negative, so it can't be these two. Sine, u can only be 1 or 2, so it can't be that one, so it's left with 2. All right, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, I'm going to let you guys find your side length. I'm going to call that A. A squared plus negative 2 squared equals 7 squared. Go ahead and do that work now. It does come out to be a radical.
Do you just leave it, or do you have to break it down?
Leave it in break it down.
No.
Yeah. No decimal, but I do want it radical form broken down.
I think that was my least favorite part last year.
Was it?
Yeah, like when it would come out as a radical.
And you had to break it down.
Yeah.
We're doing that right now in math 2. All right, subtract your 4. That's a 4. A squared equals what? And can we break down, once we square root both sides, can we break down the 45? 9 and 5. And is 9 a perfect squared? Square root of 9 is 3 root 5. So did we just find our missing length to be 3 root 5? Positive or negative?
Positive.
It's positive, but should you always be double checking that?
Yes,
All right, are we ready now to find the sine of 2u? We don't have to worry about, oh, which formula to use. There's only one. 2 what? Sine u, cosine u, or your variable that you've changed it to. 2, and I look at this picture. What is sine of u in this picture? Perfect. She said 3 root 5 over 7. Do you guys see that? Opposite over hypotenuse. And then cosine of u, again, there's no more u once you evaluate it. Cosine of u is adjacent over hypotenuse, and what is that? Does it make sense that we come up with the given information? Yeah, because we use the given information to draw our triangle. All right, I'm going to put a 1 underneath. 2 times 3 times negative 2. Negative 12, and then root 5 over 1 times 7 times 7, 49. Reduce if you can. Since you cannot, that is your final answer. And the last one. Second semester, and it's not very much. She asked, do we use imaginary numbers? Second semester, and I want to say if we do, it's not very much. Yeah. All right, number 3. Rewrite using double angle formulas. Okay. 8 sine x cosine x. All right, they gave us a hint right here. What formulas do they want us to use? Okay. Now, do we have a double angle formula? Look at your formulas on the other page. Do you have one that starts with an 8? No. We do not. Okay. Do we have one that looks close? Can you guys tell me what the closest one that looks like this actually is? 2 sine. Can I use x instead of theta?
Yes.
2 sine x cosine x. Is that the closest one?
Yes.
All right. What does this equal, by the way? Sine 2x. Okay. So, I want it to look like this, but there's an 8. Anything? Any thoughts? Okay, I had my morning class say the same thing with factor out and GCF. We don't want to think of it as a GCF or a factor out because this is one term. Do you see that? Yeah. So I can't really factor out or GCF out, but can I break up? Yeah. Like, can I write the 8 as a 4 times 2? Yeah. Is 4 times 2 equivalent to 8? Yes. Yes. And then the sine x and the cosine x are still there. I had a kid say, well, can I multiply by 1/4? You could only multiply by 1/4 if there was another side of the equation to multiply by. Is this an equation? No. So you can't just throw numbers in there unless there was an equal sign that you can balance it. Does that make sense? So I can't just throw a times 1/4 in, but I can change this because 4 times 2 is exactly the same as 8. Why would we do this? Is this exactly this over here? So 2 sine x cosine x is what? And the only thing I have to do is drop the 4 in the front, and that is your answer. Now, is there typically a 4 in the front? No. Why is it in this case? Because we took that 8 and changed it to 4 times 2.
So it just acts kind of like a coefficient.
Exactly what it is. It's a coefficient. Okay? Makes sense? Kind of. Questions?